Hi, my name's Emma, and let's talk spooky stuff. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another What's Coming Up on VOD this month. I'm very excited about the array of selection this month. We have a lot of foreign horror, but we also have a movie that a lot of us have been waiting years to watch coming straight to VOD. So let's just get into it. If you do like these videos, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, I would love to have you here. I do 2 videos every single week talking about horror movies, talking about thriller movies, giving you some deep dives, rankings, reviews, and a lot of recommendations. So let's jump into some recommendations right now, talking about what's coming out this month, and let's start with Ghost Lab. Ghost Lab is the first drama horror from Thailand produced by Netflix. The film is about 2 doctors that witness something paranormal in their hospital and become obsessed with obtaining scientific proof that ghosts exist. I love the idea of someone in the medical field having an obsession with finding solid evidence of the paranormal. But the film does look like it settles into the drama subgenre more than the horror. Instead of what I would hope it being based on scares, the storyline looks like it will be around how far these doctors go to prove a point, focusing on their morals and very emotional scenes. But it is by one of the same directors of Phobia and Phobia 2, which are some great anthology films from Thailand, so I'm very keen to check this one out, and it has a killer title too. This one hits Netflix on the 26th of May. Crime, mystery, horror, Initiation is a social media nightmare. I'm thinking this is becoming a new type of subgenre of horror, social media horror. What is a good name for that? The film centers around a university's pledge week, but the excitement is cut short when a star student is horrifically murdered. The incident incites a spree of social media messages that point towards the motive for the murder. I love the look of this film. It's very Euphoria, I mean, in terms of some of the neon lighting and social settings, but on the other hand, it looks like a straight up slasher. It also kind of reminds me of Scream Queens without the comedy, but let's see how excessive the social media overlay is. But other than that, I'm more than keen. This one is pretty high on my to watch list, and it's set for VOD on the 7th of May. No news where it's going to be available, and of course it will be different in each country, so just keep that date handy. Fried Barry is the new Shudder original film premiering on the 7th of May in most countries. The film is described as an acid-washed sci-fi horror, which sounds awesome. It follows the story of an abusive man on a bender, and then, wait for it, he's abducted by aliens and he returns to Earth possessed by one. What an interesting concept. The film is set in Cape Town, South Africa, and majority of the script was improvised. The film is also a homage to all Alien films with pop culture references from films like E.T., Alien, and Starman. It has a lot of throwbacks to 80s imagery as well. I'm pretty keen for this one. Let me know if you want a review. And next, I am so excited to talk to you about a film we have been waiting for literally 2 years now, almost 2 years. It's The Woman in the Window, finally. We have waited forever for this one, but apparently it's finally dropping on Netflix on the 14th of May. The reason it was so delayed wasn't just because of the pandemic. In fact, it was scheduled for a theatrical release in October of 2019, but some test screenings showed flaws in the story and a re-edit took place, pushing the film back. And then of course, when the film was finally ready, the world shut down. And after waiting a year, they finally chose to sell the film to Netflix. The crime mystery thriller is based on the novel of the same name. The film stars Amy Adams as a woman suffering from agoraphobia. She's living alone in New York, watching her neighbors as a source of connection. But her world dramatically changes when she witnesses a violent crime. This movie has a great cast, including Gary Oldman, Anthony Mackie, and Julianne Moore. I know we're going to be jumping on this one as soon as it hits Netflix to avoid spoilers, of course, if you haven't read the book. Although we don't know how different it will be. This one hits Netflix on the 14th of May in most countries. Next, from Brazil, we have Skull the Mask, a fantasy action horror that is heavy on the action. The film is described as a splatter-filled supernatural slasher. Skull the Mask is about a pre-Columbian artifact that has fallen into the wrong hands. The artifact is essentially a mask, and whoever wears it is possessed by a spirit that is trying to sacrifice humans to resurrect his god. In the film, we follow a museum assistant and a police officer who must work together to obtain the mask before it's too late. This is another 80s throwback, and this one is more on the slasher side with plenty of gore and practical effects promised. It hits Shudder in most countries on the 27th of May. Next, this one is so interesting. Sound of Violence, also known as Conductor, is about a woman who regained her ability to hear during a traumatic childhood event, and the same event awakened strange abilities and in turn created her obsession with brutal sounds. And now she turns them into musical masterpieces. Are you still with me? Because when she's faced with the idea of losing her hearing again, her obsession turns dark. Early user reviews claim that Sound of Violence is raw, intense, and original. And indeed, the trailer has some intense and experimental imagery. It looks incredibly unique. This one is out on the 21st of May. The Scary House, also known as The Strange House, is an Austrian film about a teenager that moves from the city into a rural small village in South Austria. He is not happy with his parents' decision, and to make things worse, his new home is haunted. And it links back to this horrific story about a mother who poisoned her children. But when they start to uncover strange symbols in the house, they realize there must be more to the story. The film is based on a children's book of the same name. The movie will hit Netflix on the 14th of May in some countries. Make of this what you will, the title alone makes me giggle. The Lockdown Hauntings is about a spirit of a serial killer that returns from the dead during the pandemic. This spirit starts to attack women isolated in their home during lockdown. The idea is, and stay with me, because we saw nature healing itself in some parts of the world, because humans were not around, apparently spirits have also returned to take advantage of the empty streets. I really don't know what to say about that explanation. This film was indeed shot during the start of the global lockdown, and it stars Tony Todd and Heather Peace. This one will be out in the UK on the 3rd of May, and hopefully, if it's good, other countries will follow suit, but no word yet. Love, Death and Robots is back for a season 2 in May. The TV series is an anthology of animated stories about love, death, and robots, of course. Each episode is completely unique, including the genres, tones, and type of animation. The show is deeply inspired by heavy metal, an 80s Canadian animated sci-fi anthology film, and the first series was a huge hit. So it's back for season 2, and that will hit Netflix on the 14th of May. Okay, we're gonna do an experiment. I'm gonna show you this really short clip, and you let me know if you're in or not. I am totally in. How terrifying was that? This clip is from the trailer of Antidote, an independent horror thriller about a young woman who is held captive in an underground medical facility that experiments with patients by mutilating them and then healing them with a mystery antidote. Not a lot more is known about this film. It's due for release on the 15th of April. Let's hope it's on a worldwide platform. That clip really gets me. You've probably already seen the trailer for Army of the Dead. I mean, it's Zack Snyder and it's all over social media. The Netflix action crime horror hits the internet on the 21st of May. The film is about a group of mercenaries attempting to pull off a heist, but here's where the horror comes in. The location of the robbery just so happens to be smack bang in the middle of a quarantine zone during a zombie outbreak. The movie started as a Warner Brothers film and Netflix actually took over. Unlike his previous zombie film, which was the remake of Dawn of the Dead, it's said not to derive from Romero's version of zombies, but it still draws elements from his work. This one is not really my thing, but I know some of you watching would be interested. But the next one I'm super excited about. It is Oxygen. This French sci-fi thriller is about a woman who wakes up in a cryogenic chamber with no recollection of how she got there, and now she must try and escape before she runs out of oxygen. If you aren't already excited about this film, it's by the same French director who's done such films as High Tension, The Hills Have Eyes remake, Mirrors, Horns, Piranha 3D, and of course, Crawl. The film was originally announced in 2007 and had Anne Hathaway on the cast and attached as a producer. Since then, they've gone through several casting changes and director changes, landing where they are now, with Melanie Laurent now starring as the lead. All I know is it's been a long time coming and I'm ready. Oxygen will hit Netflix on the 12th of May. Before I go, I do want to mention that Psycho Goreman is hitting Shudder in May. I know a lot of you have already seen it, but it might be more accessible to some of you now, so I did want to mention it quickly. The film is about two siblings that accidentally resurrect an ancient alien overlord. It's been highly recommended to me by a lot of people and it hits Shudder on the 20th of May. So of course, my question to you is, what are you going to watch this month, and was there any films that I left out that you're really excited to see? Please leave them down in the comments like always. I would love to read them and I'm sure everyone else would love to be clued in. Let me know if you want me to review any of these in particular. I like to kind of gauge your interest in which ones speak to you, but I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Once again, my name is Emma, also known as Spookyastronauts. I do 2 videos every single week talking about horror movies and thrillers, and I'll see you very soon. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye.